here we are ringing in another new year, and I'm here in my barn by my haystack just like last year. I was planning on reviewing a little bit of what happened this last year, what goals were achieved, and what I plan to do in the coming year. So we all know that 2020 was a really interesting year, right? With pandemic and a lot of things shut down and a lot of upset in our country, in the US. But for me and my horse life, that's what I'm going to chat about here, and what ended up happening in the year as far as my goals that I set last year. I'm going to put a link down in the description below if you want to watch the video from last year and see how my goal setting compares to this year and then what was achieved last year. So last year, a couple of the main things that I had on my radar obviously was competition-wise with whiskey. And although a lot of things closed down and we weren't able to exactly do the path that I was thinking we were going to be able to do competitively, some other really cool options ended up opening up. We got to go to Montana for the Big Sky Reining Classic, which was something that I never exactly thought that I was going to go and do because all of the shows here in Washington State ended up being canceled. So we had to plan to go outside of the state for our competitions. What that meant going to Montana was that I was able to go to a affiliate regional championships. That was the mountain affiliate championships, and I normally go to the Northwest. However, going to that ARC show ended up affording us the ability to win an ARC title, which was a major goal of mine I set with whiskey. However, I thought that was going to take me a few more years to attain that, but I'm really pleased that ended up actually coming to fruition. Additionally, after that, we ended up going down to the High Roller, which was another really awesome show to experience and to kind of check off the bucket list of shows. It wasn't something that was initially on my goals for the year, because by that point in September, I had already attained the major goal on whiskey that I was planning on. However, going to Las Vegas for that show was really awesome, and we really rounded out successfully our Green Rainer status. So we were no longer eligible for Green Rainer level 1 or 2 or rookie level 1. We're still eligible for rookie level 2, even though that's the title that we won. But for earnings, we still have this coming year for rookie 2. The other thing that happened in 2020 was the Western Dressage Association World Show happened online. And in the past, I'd been encouraged from some friends that me and Milo would do well if we did some of the Western Dressage shows, primarily the World Show. We don't have any WDAA affiliates in this region or in an area that I'm comfortable hauling to. I already haul very far for the reining, and the dressage is kind of secondary to that usually. However, because of the pandemic and everything, the World Show was hosted online, and I jumped at that opportunity to be able to show Milo in that. I'd been doing some WDAA virtual approved shows throughout the season, which was a really fun thing for us to be able to have goals and something to work towards still with Milo. Anyway, so when that World Show became available, I jumped on that with Milo. I got 2 tests filmed, and then he got an abscess. So I kind of had to swerve, and I ended up finishing out the last 2 tests that I had already paid for on whiskey. And he really blew me away by his versatility and his ability to step up to that arena and do something that I've never intentionally asked him to go perform. Obviously, dressage is the baseline for good training, and I think that is to credit why whiskey was able to go successfully do that, because a good reining horse should really still have a good dressage foundation. There's just a couple minor things that they look for that's a little bit different. Anyway, so that rounded out Milo and whiskey competitively for the year. We now have top 10 status that I can put on both of those horses' resumes for the WDAA competition. So I was really proud of both of them for that adventure this last year. Now, Junior is a whole other kind of topic. However, my initial goals with Junior was to get him going under saddle via the ground. I didn't want to get on him until he was well into 2 years old. At that time, I did knee x-rays for him to see when we could be getting closer to starting him. And then this EPM diagnosis gave us a really big swerve. So as we are now here, just entering the new year, he is saddle started. He can carry the saddle, do groundwork, wear the bridle. But going forward, I plan to get him going under saddle. So collectively for the whole year, I really did meet pretty much every single goal that I had set. With Milo, my main goal was one-handed dressage level 1, and that's how we competed the entire year. Whiskey was to get an affiliate regional championship title, which we attained, and Junior was to bring along further in his colt starting status. So, for the year going forward, what are some of my goals? Well, it's been a little interesting because I don't have as clear of an image as I normally do, and I like to create goals that are SMART goals. They're timely, they're measurable, they're relatively attainable, but nothing has really sharply come to mind. I mean, yes, I plan to get Junior started. He has a late start now, so I'm not sure how the 3-year-old aged events will look for us. I think I'm setting that goal a little bit more towards 4-year-old redshirt events for him. But I definitely want to get him going under saddle and see what we've got. If some of this neurological stuff is carrying over, where his talents look like they are. That's the main goal for him going forward. For Milo, I mean, he's become a World Show top 10 finisher. I mean, what more can you end up asking from that from a coming 17-year-old? But I plan to continue riding him and competing just to keep him going and keep him fit. Again, I'll just continue with perfecting our level 1. I'd like to move a little bit into level 2, but I'm having some management joint things that I have to consider with him, so I'm not entirely sure how much farther up he can go, but it would be really fun to dabble in level 2. And for Whiskey, competitively, he's going to be 7 in a couple of months, and we got that regional title. I mean, it never hurts to go and try and get another one and really round out my rookie resume. I would really love to be able to have another title or big accomplishment with him this year. But one thing I do want to try with him this year, at least once, is step into that AQHA show level. And that's primarily just for more versatility with him and for me to try something semi-new. If I take him to an AQHA show, I plan to have it still in the reining, / maybe one in the ranch riding. He currently has 1 AQHA point in the amateur reining division, and I would just like to see him have some more collectively to his resume. I think AQHA would be really fun. That may look like going to a Oregon show, or it may just be one here in Washington. Depends on how the class lists look and the locations of those shows. The other thing that's worth noting is the continued work that I always have planned for my farm. I'm in the process of putting up another shed row building, and if that just means more boarders, then that's a potential. I've been considering doing perhaps some more flip horses, bring them and start them and rehome them after that. We'll see what happens, but in the meantime, I'm in the process of putting up that other building. So I still have some relatively short-term goals going on for the property and where I want to see it and what else I want to do with it. So completing that barn is going to be another thing that is on my radar for completing for 2021. So that about wraps it up for this video, welcoming us into the new year. I appreciate everybody who has followed along in my horsemanship journey and farm updates throughout this last year. I encourage everyone watching to think about what it is that they want in their horse life and whatever smart, attainable goals that they can create for themselves. I really find sitting down and thinking about what it is that I want really helps make a clearer image in my head and gets me motivated for the next year. Find what really helps me be successful, at least feeling successful in my journey, is having little things that I can kind of check off along the way and make me feel like I'm getting to those goals that I want to. Again, thank you guys for watching. I'll be seeing you in upcoming videos throughout this new year.